point. These days, the Brazilians are on a very similar looking run, making this matchup a microcosm of past versus present. VP are looking to prove that they can still make noise in the modern day, and W7m are inching ever closer to forging that era unto themselves, and somehow, some way, this is the first time that these two teams have ever faced one another. Lax, this one should be really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at VP here specifically. They had a shortcoming going against NIP, and I think that's partially due to the map pool that they picked. They did, I think, go for a little bit of an ego challenge versus NIP on Cafe, when NIP has a historical record of, I believe, 10 wins on that. So definitely not the best choice for VP, but then you see the bounce back immediately going against D+, winning that 7-3 on Oregon. Big, beautiful performance from them. And then obviously the map win also on, oh wait, no, sorry. My notes are wrong. Beating Wolves on Oregon 7-1, beating D+ on Chalet in a pretty convincing fashion. So you do like to see that bounce back from them from that original game. But my question here is, going against W7m, they are a very aggressive team, and they are going to bring it to you, where a lot of these teams that they played outside of NIP weren't as aggressive that W7 was going to bring.
That is the weakness for VP right now, is aggression. They're very good, especially taking the time to set up, using everybody on the roster, all their utility, getting in the map, step-by-step process.
Yep.
What is W7m best at? Disrupting that step-by-step process, throwing a wrench in the plans, getting a potential pick to slow down enemy teams. Virtus.Pro is going to have to be able to bring a lot more adaptation. They can't stay so static because W7m is going to be reading into it.
It feels like everyone keeps talking about W7m as like, oh, they lost their first game, not the world's biggest deal. It was against GK, but now they're back on track, it feels like. Whereas everyone who talks about Virtus.Pro feels like there's still something else left to prove because they haven't won anything for a long time. Yet you look at the numbers, look at how good they are in both attack and defense right now.
Oh yeah, you look at Virtus.Pro's stats and you'd be surprised at how they've been going so far through this tournament. Obviously, W7m, on the other hand, their stats were really shunned by their first match against GK that they ended up losing. But so far, they've only gotten better throughout the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that defensive rating, sitting third, obviously VP is second. That's something that you want going into this game. It's really going to test who is the better team here, who is going to take that second spot, or maybe even first place spot, I guess, depending how well you play that defense. But again, it's going to come down to W7m then. Can they disrupt that structure that VP is going to bring to them? Because they are an aggressive team, and it is important to have that aggression, especially in a meta like this. But then how do you get past that armor or that wall that VP is possibly going to set up?
Can Virtus.Pro bring enough different opportunities, a lot of adaptability. We got it.
Get the words out.
Adaptability
there you go.
To be able to counter around the aggression that W7m is going to bring in this game.
It feels like W7m historically have always been good at about 6 maps in the 9-map pool.
Yeah.
Whereas for VP, they're going to really hone in on a couple of ones and like get that strategy down to a T. And it feels like their map pool against W7m's map pool, that almost feels like you can win or lose the game just on how the ban phase goes.
Well, I'll say this. With both these teams, I think whatever maps these decide to come out to be, I think ultimately it's going to come down to who's going to set that tempo in the beginning of the round or beginning of the game, and whoever gets off to that run is pretty much going to stay solidified through the rest of the game.
Sure.
Virtus.Pro is very consistent. They're going to do the same strats together, and they're just going to change a couple little things. W7m could try to exploit that by throwing wrenches in it, really trying to avoid where Virtus.Pro is going to be coming from, or just going balls to the wall, all 5 people throwing against it.
Yeah.
Which, when I think that this is technically an old Empire roster, and when we even played them back then, like, that's something that we even notice, is that if you let them keep that structure, they will dominate you. But the second, like you were saying, if W7m can throw that wrench, and like we did back then, you really see the adaptability from VP specifically not be there.
All right, well, let's see how far W7m are able to whittle VP's map pool down to. It comes down all the way to Chalet, gentlemen. We did just see VP play this bad boy yesterday, and they beat D+ on it, but how are we feeling about this?
If you're W7m VOD reviewing Chalet, I mean, I watched the last Virtus.Pro game.
Yeah.
All of their attacks were essentially the same thing. We talked about it in the telestration. Virtus.Pro loves going for the solar takes, all 5 people attacking solar. That's their foothold. That's how they get into the map every single attack. If you're W7m, this is exactly what you want. That's exactly what you want going into this game.
Yep.
Well, regardless of that going into the game, I think this does set up W7M very well. They have the VOD. They know what they need to do. Sure, VP is going to be starting on that defensive side, or was it attack? I didn't get to see that went away for a second. But regardless, whatever that side is, them having that information, having that aggression, when it does switch to whatever side that VP is going to be attacking, you can only imagine that W7M is going to try to stop them at every little bit of entrance and not give them any of that map control.
Yeah, I'm liking the matchup on paper. I'm just looking at W7M as the juggernaut, and we're going to see whether Virtus.Pro have anything in the bag to just qualify for main stage right now and not have to worry about best of threes tomorrow. And who better to talk about this matchup on the cast than the people who casted W7M winning in Copenhagen and EUL casters to talk about VP at the same time. It's Desert Q&A's.
Thank you very much, Jacob, and guys over on the desk. Tim, not going to lie, a little bit jealous about all the tri-casting yesterday.
There's been some really good tri-casts so far.
It's been amazing. I think we should get our own in.
We've got a bit of a history of tri-casting, to be fair.
The thing is, no one's here, so we've got to summon someone. Should we do a little hocus pocus?
I think we could do something special.
All right, let's do it. Ready? Ooh. Ta-da!
Hello, guys.
I didn't expect this, to be fair. I thought we'd get a real analyst on here, right? Welcome, Titan.
Hello, hello.
This is Coach for G2. Titan, as you can see, now a caster. No longer a coach, I'm afraid, at least for today. How are you feeling?
Happy, confident, interesting map to see, and excited for the game.
Yeah, it's going to be
He's
good.
always got work talk, hasn't he? I'm like, how are you feeling? He's like, yeah, excited for the map, actually, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's about as disappointing as his cup of tea, isn't it?
Oh, we've got to have a conversation about
Here we go. Here we go.
Chalet is ready. Let's get it.
We didn't even get to the game.
Oh, dear.
You just had to bring it up because you were so
Honestly,
mortally
I've
offended.
been absolutely for the last 20 minutes moulding about this cup of tea, thinking this needs to come. This needs to be discussed.
We'll come back onto that, but talk about this map for a second as well, Time. We've got your brains here, we may as well use them. Chalet between VP and W7M, what are your thoughts?
It's quite interesting, to be honest. W7M traditionally a very, very good Chalet team. It's one of the best maps that they can have. Their style of play, playing split theory, being spread out, putting on the pressure, it's a perfect map for it. VP traditionally not known for it, so the way the ban phase went out, especially to get to Skyscraper Chalet as the last two, it definitely tells me that I think VP have come in with a clear plan of how they want to play, and it'll be interesting to see if they can execute it well.
Tim, what about your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's something that I'm always aware of with VP that Foxy touched on the desk there, is as soon as teams figure out what they're doing, they never do anything different. So once figured out, it's kind of difficult for VP to win from that position. Having played Chalet yesterday, W7M can just sit down, pour over those odds. I think it's going to be a tough start for Virtus.Pro potentially, because I think we're going to see a W7M team that are very ready for what's coming their way and will play to disrupt it. So I think it could be a tough
I
one.
really hope you do what we did during rehearsals and just go, yeah. What Titan said, yeah, that's it. Right, we're into the ban, so obviously, Titan, you'll look at these teams loads and you'll have loads of thoughts about the operators they're banning away and why. Talk us through these.
Well, the Ying ban's no big surprise, to be honest. VP have like two traditional bans, Ying and Azami, that they ban on pretty much every single map unless they want to get funky with it. Grim from W7M is an quite interesting ban, and the Fenrir makes sense. So the Grim, I'm assuming, is because they're a bit scared of the way that VP have been using it. They're very good at execute-based siege, so a Grim ban kind of like prevents that a little bit and tries to hinder that. The Fenrir ban is a great ban, to be honest, on Chalet. You want to make as much space as possible and create as many gaps, so without being gone, it helps you a lot as a team.
And there's the Azami, as you mentioned, pretty much the go-to standard ban to VP, so nothing off script there. Round one getting underway, and as a reminder, for this game, it is at 2-1, so the winner of this game qualifies. The loser, they fall down to being 2-2, which means they have a final chance tomorrow in a best of three to make it through to our main stage, which kicks off on Friday. So it's not quite last chance saloon, but it is getting dangerously close. Tim, Wine and Snowmobile going to be our first site.
Yeah, we're going to kick things off down in the basement.
Tim's favourite site.
I really do like this site, and it's...
He likes it because you get really tilted when people play it the wrong way.
Well, it's interesting having Titan here for that, because it's an interesting conversation to have about this site and the way we've seen it shift. I think G2 were one of the first that we saw to start opening that wine wall out into electrical, out into trench, and just extending around the map, making it's now pretty much an entire map clearance. So W7M, I would expect to have a lot of work ahead of them, you know, Virtus.Pro out in the map, realistically.
Yeah, I mean, just based off the initial operator lineup here that you can see from VP, they clearly want to have a little bit of a roam game going on, which is pretty standard for most teams. I'm expecting a 3-floor sort of setup, realistically, with a strong bomb site setup with Mira. They've got the back wall there left half soft, so they can also impact trick it, so that W7M can't take the backside for free. But if you look at the lineup that W7M have, they've not brought that much hard breach, so I'd expect for them to be looking for something pretty simple in terms of like an execute late round. Probably going snow side is what they'll ideally look for.
Really holding on to Dining pretty hard there as well. The mirror window in, a reinforcement, couple of castle barricades down, got vertical holes opened up. Hatch being open means, of course, they've got to play and contest it. Attackers definitely want control of Dining from that point forward. The downstairs itself is quite interesting, I think, in the setup where you've got a couple of castle barricades set up. They're fully reinforced off Wine, for example, which means on the attacking side, it's just going to be a rush straight in there. So forget about your fancy schmancy setups. We want the site. And they've marched straight on through. You've got Herds with the backstab inside the blue as VP try and fight their way back in towards site. They'll win out the gunfight at the very least, but the EE1D buys them enough time. Post-plant inside 30 seconds.
And this is it. They're now working on a very tough retake. You're going to have W7m set up outside of Snow. How do you fight back into this? Virtus.Pro just need to get creative about where they can find these gunfights. But at the minute, W7m just aren't playing into it. We've had 15, 20 seconds of this diffuser being down. No kills coming in, apart from W7m. JV92, a double for Leapox KZ. W7m absolutely destroying that. And what better way to disrupt a defense than just going straight in and throwing that diffuser down?
It's really smart from W7m. They clearly either did their prep work and have researched how VP like to set up on this bomb site and how most teams generally will sort of like spread themselves out. But I think also it's probably a little bit of info game in the mid round. They see that mirror window inside of lobby. They see that there's a heavy roam off site and they can go, right, okay, probably one guy, maybe two guys max is what we're looking at. So if we can just win one on connector or on that mirror window, we'll have the entirety of the bomb site control. And once you're there, it's so quick to get the bomb down and to retake as a defender. Yeah, I mean, good luck.
I didn't need to see where Herds came from, but I saw the next thing you know, he's inside of blue like he was a little bit earlier in this round as well, with an awesome backstab coming on through. And sure, Dan manages to get that challenge in, but the amount of time and space that he gave to those executing when coming in through Garage to get the plant down with the EE1D in support just made things all too easy. And yeah, I think I agree with you there as well, Herds. Nice team, very nice team in round one. VP, I imagine, going to be a little bit more conservative with their defensive setup, at least coming into round two for Bar and Gaming.
Bar Gaming is a bit of an interesting site, to be honest. It's one of the sites that traditionally...
You are loving that word.
5 seconds left.
Interesting.
Interesting,
It's
yeah.
the caster word, because you can say it and it can mean it genuinely was interesting, or interesting as in it's bad, but we can't say it's bad because we've got to be good. I love it.
All right, well, I'll be very blunt. It's probably a very bad bomb site, to be honest, on the map. But I'm assuming what they've thought of and how they see the map going out, or the bomb site playing out, sorry, is a little bit more execute-based, which is kind of what they want, whereas for W7m, they'll be very happy with this. It's a very easy bomb site to adapt on and be flexible with how you want to attack it. And as you can see, you'll usually see like solar pressure, west main pressure, a little bit of pressure on site. Eventually they'll find some sort of gap and they'll just be able to take it from there and just collapse onto the bomb site.
Just going to have the drone in phase coming out for W7m. They're not quite as aggressive or rush heavy this time around, 30 seconds in. Just sort of getting themselves established around the map. Still pressuring onto Library. Dan is in position still, led prone on the Frost, just making it difficult for them to get in there and take that vertical control. So far, much more what we would expect from W7m on the attack.
It is, yeah. I think, again, it's about this control that Titan was sort of referring to as well, and it's not being the best site for it. Getting themselves set up here, all towards this north side of the map. You can see the spread where you got one working through base and one out towards Library as well. Very much this surround of the site going on right now, Titan.
I mean, as you can see, I mean, KG's already in the bomb site here, and it's just so simple as that. It's just, he took the west main control, he's able to take Dining and just go for it.
Absolutely slaughter it. I mean, one's left standing. That was barely even around. W7m just marched it. What can I say?
I mean, if VP keep playing like this, I'll be very honest, this could be a very quick game. I mean, they're not putting enough pressure on any points of entry that they want, and they chose to go to this map, but they don't seem to have researched it very well in terms of the way that W7m are actually executing and attacking the map.
Yeah, I think coming into it, you know, we picked up on the fact that they played it yesterday. W7m can have a look at that. They can see exactly what's going to go on. And as I said, with Virtus.Pro, historically and still now, they're a team that you know what you're going to get. And that's exactly what W7m are getting right now. And they already have a plan. Yeah, we know exactly what positions they're going to be playing in. We know where the util's going to be. We know where the reinforcements are going to be. So, if anything, it kind of feels like W7m can have a pre-planned path into, yeah, if we just go in through this window, we can probably actually just crouch walk into site, get a couple of kills, and we've got control. And right now, Virtus.Pro are doing nothing to stop that.
It's just mad that Hertz has got into a spot to make use of their own shield against them for a start. And you've also had KZ just walking down through Dining, straight round 90, into site, and they've just slaughtered everyone with barely any contest. So, looking a bit dicey, at this point, if you were behind the scenes, if you were the coach of this team, Are you thinking, I need to sort this out, I need to step in now and have that tack time out after this round?
To be honest, I'd be either this round here at the end of that last round or this one here, because what you're looking at again, it's a dining bomb site. VP are extending a little bit more here once more, but in terms of like what they have to actually pressure and hold on to the rest of the map, they don't have a lot. And all W7m are going to do, take library side, look to get the bomb down in dining there with that Osa, and just basically just do a basic half clear, and there's nothing to stop them.
I mean, so far, Virtus.Pro, you know, they've got 2 kills in 2 rounds. It's just, it ain't going to cut the mustard against W7m. You know, they are going to come in and absolutely decimate you. At the minute, off the first 2 rounds, these defences looking weaker than that tea this morning, Titan.
Oh, yeah.
That had to get slipped in there somewhere. The man was basically drinking milk. The thing is, he did try and justify this and say across Europe, you do get milky tea as a drink.
Yeah, mate. You do, but... Yeah, that
not
was...
that milky. It's like, you got to be a Brit. Like, you are a Brit. It's got to be done the right way. And that started a whole debate about toast as well. Hertz is going to find an absolute freebie as Dan, unknowingly dropping through the hatch straight into his waiting arms.
I mean, it's fundamental issue VP have here. Again, it's not enough control of the map, and there's nobody supporting them to help the players that are sort of off in these solo positions, these spread positions that are trying to contest. And the fundamental issue is VP want to play Execute Siege. W7m are saying, well, we don't. We just see free gaps because of the way that we play the game, and we're just saying, our split positions, we will take what you give us, thank you very much, and we're just going to tear you apart bit by bit.
Well, we can see they're pretty much all gathered on towards the south side here as well. It's very much that front line being drawn inside of dining itself. All south side of the map for W7m. No one looking for a backstab on the side of VP. Almost playing a little bit scared at this point, I imagine. Saying that, Pasha was starting to challenge downstairs a bit and has found out the herds. That's the KB offline. Call's already used, so it's far from the end of the world. But it's still a kill for VP. Is it the only one they get this round, though, Tim?
Well, you know, looking at the situation, Virtus.Pro are going to have to start winning exactly fights like that. They're going to be taken on-site, long range, just trying to hold W7m at bay, essentially, trying to stop them taking the ground. Ouch. JV92 has the pixel angle. He's ready for joystick moving across. Picks him up nice and easy, and he's going to continue holding that for the time being. Still don't have top floor control yet, though, W7m. However, it is not deterring them from putting that diffuser down on the ground. I tell you who will, though. Pasha, second kill on the round. This is looking slightly better from Virtus.Pro.
So at this vertical angle as well. They pushed in and got some top floor control, but it's been great movement by Pasha. He's moving from bedroom down in towards office and has got a brilliant vertical, and it's going to force W7m to have to push in on this top floor and step him away before they can try and make this happen again. They've lost 2 players trying to stick this diffuser to the ground, but Pasha has completely shut this round down.
Yeah, with 25 seconds left to go, it's just going to have to be a bit of a Hail Mary from W7m here. Go in, take gunfights, get kills. There's the pre-fire from Philippos, takes down Pasha. There's an opportunity here, 1 versus 2. 15 seconds left to go, but look who's downstairs, Shepard. There is a man who knows how to control sight, and that's exactly what he's going to do for the time being. Try to hold on here and keep himself alive, but look at the movement from Philippos. Gets himself downstairs, understands the urgency, starts getting the diffuser down, and JV is on the cover. Somehow, Virtus.Pro have given up the round, Titan.
Honestly, it started off with W7m having that round gifted them for free. They got the 5v4, they got the Osa shield in place, they managed to kill the guy trying to retake half wall. I was going to say, VP just looked like they were trying to do everything solo. Their joystick's just on his own little island. They got a guy in piano. Why is he not contesting JV? And then somehow, Pasha just lurks into half wall. But what they're doing then after that, where they're just still actively playing their positions. You got 3v2, about 15 seconds left on the clock. Just stay alive, play for your trades. That's what you got to do.
Bits of tactic from Shepard as well, I think, in West Main, as you say, not really moving. And I really thought with 5 seconds on the clock, W7m would not get into the right spot. And I saw you jump a little bit there at that.
Always just swinging. You're in a 3v2. Why are you swinging with 10 seconds left on the clock, basically? Like, you don't want to win the round, apparently, if you're going to play like that. It's just silly mistakes from VP that fundamentally, you're 3-0 down right now, you're costing yourself the game.
Ouch. Well, scathing words from Titan. I'm sure there's plenty more to come in these next 3 rounds. Stepping into that second quarter of the game. Going to see a repeat of these 3 sites, I expect, here. And truthfully, the setup hasn't changed all that much for VP. Still got this extended hold, still got the castle on side, for example. We need to see changes in this round, though, Titan.
The Warden is the big change here from the Mute from previously. They realized the Warden is completely pointless, so what they're expecting now, again, is they're afraid of something direct for sight, especially for that late round execute. They brought that in, extra, same C4, but they're hoping that in case W7m want to play with some sort of smoke execute, they can actually counter that, all the flashbangs.
It's looking much more like W7m are playing playing for the roam clear, though, with the Dokkaebi, with the Lion. They've got all the operators that they need to get that map cleared out, and Virtus.Pro, it's like you sort of feel for them. We question their adaptability come into it. They're trying to adapt, but W7m are just another step ahead.
They're reading it too slow, basically. Fundamentally, they're just taking a whole extra round or sort of cycle of defenses to be able to actually counter them. You can't do that against a team like W7m. You've got to think on the fly. You've got to be right there in the moment as both a team and also as an individual player. And when you can see here, W7m are taking more of the map. They brought double hard breach now. They can put more pressure onto the bomb side. They don't need to go for any cheesy play. They're 3-0 up. They'll just do what they want.
And there's all 5 of them pushing on the north side here. There's 2 or 3 players pushing up on top floor, a couple playing in below, and they've got full control once again. And here, with Dining Hatch control, this could be so easy to start looking for a plan in through Trench.
Yeah, that's it. It just gives them that little bit of space down inside. We've talked so much about the hatch in Dining and how it holds on to that wine plant side. You know, they can start thinking about Trench now, getting themselves in there. KZ, he's going to fight. He's going to play his life in that position now and just try and keep hold. The last thing W7m want is that hatch being retaken to be used against them. So KZ, he's just planted his feet. He's locking in. A little bit of support from Herds. And this is that roam clearance that we were talking about that we saw might happen. We've got Pasha on the run. He's super low health on the Oryx. Dan as well has been depleted. This is tough for Virtus.Pro from here.
What's really interesting here is VP are playing for this full retake here. They don't realise that W7m now, they're going for a backside. That's probably the way they want to finish. They're trying to do this double retake, but they're going to struggle so much on doing it.
Pasha's managed to get upstairs, though, here as well. Gone through the soft wall in towards office, and he's in a good spot on the vertical, and will find a kill from it. His movement these last 2 rounds has been good. The problem is, Tim, one player alone can't win this for them.
It's not just the kill that he's got, though. It's the position that he's cleared. He's taken that Dining Hatch back, and that's a big mistake from W7m, allowing Pasha to get active on the roam like that. But Herds, he manages to pick up Dan, and that leaves Pasha way out on his own.
W7m is going to go for a kill-based execute here at the finish. You can see here, we're taking snow control, and this gunfight's going to be so big, and it is. By getting those picks, even though the VP managed to trade this back to a 2v2, they've taken the bomb site control.
Now here coming down blue, trying to rotate the way back down. We've seen this one before. Last time around it was Herds in this position. It's a 1-for-1 coming on through, and there's the kill you need. Nade steps out and catches the man on main stairs. W7m up 4-0, Titan.
It might get down to a 1v1 at the end. You might see a 2v2, but again, it's fundamentally perfect siege from W7m. They lost control of upstairs, but what they're doing, they're rotating around. I think this is a timeout now as well.
I think we'll find that in a second.
Yeah, I think we're
you've got all the time in the world.
Timeout coming in.
Yeah, you've got all the time in the world now, Titan. Go nuts.
It's a simple case of where, in that situation, you've got to be ready as a team to be able to adapt and sort of react on the fly. The moment VP regained hatch control, all the guys got to do on the bomb side, just don't die. It's as simple as that. Make sure you have your crossfires, hold on to blue, hold on to your snow position. But Herds, so smart. He's playing inside of mud, he's playing inside of games. But because they opened that breach, the way that they play, they realize mid-round, I can adapt, I can change how I want to go. And he goes to the snow breach. That pressure then suddenly means that half of the bottom area that VP have to play is just gone from them in the second. And as you can see there, when they have all those positions, they can flood, they can take the bomb site. Their probably initial thought process was, okay, right, listen, we've lost hat control, there's a guy upstairs, we'll take everything we can on the bomb site, and then we'll go for the kills. And what they just found was, oh, well, I mean, the way the VP are playing this, they're having to aggress on us now, we'll just try and start planting. But they didn't really care about that at the end. And you can see here, both guys are upside. That's all it is.
And we saw that from W7m. The kill we didn't actually see there, but for Leapox, he was on the cover in blue. He's playing like a defender at that point. You know, you could be forgiven for just seeing that kill in isolation and thinking that's one of, you know, somebody's trying to push down blue stairs back into sight, but it was actually VP trying to regain their own site control. And W7m, like you say, are just always that step ahead at the minute of Virtus.Pro, and they're just waiting for them to play into them.
It feels like they're being molded, essentially, by W7m. They're like, okay, there's a player here that kind of steps too far out of line. Get rid of him, and then suddenly the whole VP shape just contracts back towards site. And I think you touched on a really good point, the movement towards the breach inside of Garage. Where can you play that safe? You can't play in Garage. Connector suddenly is threatened. Even blue, you can't cross securely. And you've got 2 players breaching inside a trench to get themselves inside a site on the northeast side. You're just screwed. There is no way you can play except going upstairs, and W7m just really strangling VP here, and you can see why they're down 4-0 and why W7m were favoured to be one of the eventual winners of this competition coming into it.
I mean, neither side site, not off game, or like off-site game is working right now for VP. They're losing site on the basement, which is one of the fundamental things, and they're losing map control on the other bomb sites, which is also a fundamental part of winning it. So, I mean, if you can't get those two basics done, I think, well, I don't want to say it, but this could be like a 7-1, 7-2 at this point.
Yeah, it's looking like a classic W7m steamroller in here. They're really starting to warm up into the tournament. I will say, you know, obviously there's mistakes being made from Virtus.Pro, but we've got to look as well with how clinical W7m are being here. And they are a difficult team. Even if you turn up on your best day, you've got your strats on point and you're playing really well. When W7m turn up like this, it's still going to be very difficult to beat them. And I think that's what Virtus.Pro are really feeling the weight of at the minute. There's almost nothing that they can do here. It kind of looks like they're just along for the ride, and W7m will decide how many rounds this is going to be.
I'm sure Titan would support this, but I imagine W7m on their day are one of the teams that you guys fear most on G2.
No, because we beat them. They're really easy to beat.
Don't give me that. Don't give me that.
Free game, free game.
Onwards we march, then this time around at least is the starting bit of success. Herds, who has been an absolute thorn in the side of Virtus.Pro all game long, taken down here quite early in the round. And dare I say it, a lot of this game it feels for VP is riding on Pasha and his ability to have an impact. This time around it's down from above as well. Nade just completely unaware as to what's going on. Valipox finally getting the first kill in the round for W7m, but there's a lot of damage already done by Virtus.Pro here.
Dan's been in a critical role on those solar stairs there. He's really been able to bounce up and down and allow his teammates to stay in their positions particularly. He's now got Diffuser at his feet as well. JV,
oh dear.
Oh, unfortunate. No chance but to try and move in. Has to try and get that frost mat taken out from underneath him, but can't do it. And will that be the spark in the keg that they need? Will it be the catalyst for Virtus.Pro to start picking up a few more rounds?
I mean, what's good, obviously you win your round off your timeout. So clearly whatever Xhaka has said or whatever the VP guy spoke about is sort of being put into action there. And I think the biggest change that everybody can notice is the fact that they played a bit more tighter together. They didn't actually, they started with the early pressure, but they gave it up a lot earlier just to be able to make sure that they have themselves, to be able to support one another, play for the trades, and avoid giving these gaps on and around site. They're realizing that W7m are finding them too easy. Valipox still gets into West Main. He still kills the guy in Kitchen. He almost gets site control if he can kill the guy in Dining. But the difference? There's a guy on Trophy Stairs now, on Solar Stairs. There's a guy on the bomb site in Dining, and they're still able to control that.
Is Dan retaking this look
Yeah,
again?
so
Nade had no idea.
Dan.
Go on, Tim, you can talk. I've talked enough.
Got himself a big double, and it, as you said, Tyne, it just really... W7m almost had that moment of momentum building. We're getting into site here, and then Dan just broke the back of it and was like, nope, absolutely not. You've got more work to do.
Is it a case of mistiming? Because Dan really there has managed to work his way in through bedrooms, top Solar, to then get that first kill onto Nade and use that as a power position, whereas about 10 seconds later, you finally saw a W7m player on double window. Was that a bit of mistiming on their side?
I don't think it was a bit of mistiming. It was perfect positioning from W7m in terms of what they want to do. It's just a simple case of the fact that they got the opening pick, they then got the second one as well, and then Dan's just able to control the round from Solar Stairs. Valipox makes a quotation marks hero play to try and recover the round, and he nearly gets away with it as Pox, but in the end it's just not quite enough.
Fair enough. Here we go then. At least it's a point on the board for Virtus.Pro and gets their game started. Pasha as passionate as ever, really living up to at least part of his name there. 4-2 will feel, I think, to be honest with you, Tim, like a bit of a smash and grab if Virtus.Pro can get away with it, because those first 4 rounds, as we said, just so dominant from W7m.
Yeah, it'll be an absolute steal. Kind of like what Virtus.Pro are doing here, getting aggressive right up to the boundaries.
Yeah.
They've sort of recognised that W7m are playing aggressively, wanting to get up in their face, so what's the answer to that? Don't let them in the building, get right up to those windows, wait for those barricades to get hit and run at them, you know, really stop them being able to get in. And who'd you send? You sent Pasha, who's getting kills for free.
I mean, notice this here. Again, Herds is now going to walk up. He might get a kill here.
He will.
Think he will. Yes, he does.
Find a second maybe as well in towards the piano. The Legion crouched down behind the cabinets, but going to back away from that one. They know about this player now. It's isolated. Oh, man, this could be rough. Do they know about Always? I thought surely they had at least an idea here. The bullets coming on through, they must know about it. Herds has got his attention turned elsewhere, though, mind you. Always, I don't think, has been spotted.
Do you think he ran away? There's surely no way.
I mean,
they're about to drone it now, though.
At least there's that kind of discipline to get extra drones in there just to check what's going on. Now that they know he's going to find himself pinched in by 2 or 3 players. You can see inside of mud, there's one above, there's one out on the window, and sure enough, he hits the deck, he's done for.
I mean,
but look to his right-hand side here, coming up from basement.
He's still got a little bit of support, which is a huge pick now. And Pasha, if he can get back at a 3v3, this is very winnable still for VP. What was nice here from the start of the round from VP, they're playing together more. They're still extending, but it's not every single corner of the map, and as a solo player, they're making sure.
Right?
3 guys were over there. Dan, though, dying here is a huge issue. They haven't got enough denial for the late round, and with a 3v3 position plus a grenade, it's just so hard for VP to win
Well,
this
they've
round.
now got Shepard on his own on site. Let's not forget, this is a top floor site that they're trying to hold on to. Pasha's all the way down in basement, so as soon as W7m recognise that, they're just going to flood onto Shepard. They can double up on him, they can even triple up on him, just make sure they get that kill. And we're in that same position again, where then Virtus.Pro are having to fight back into sight.
Pasha is the full win condition here, as you can see. He's going for the flank, and it's all on Shepard. He needs to play this perfectly to make sure that he stays alive on side without letting him go in for a plant. And Pasha again with another kill, and if he can get away here...
Oh my. Doesn't manage to get away with it, but almost managed to get the smash and grab. It's down to this 2 versus 1. Shepard, as you say, the last man left standing here. Sat in behind a shield, knows where at least one is pushing in from, and you've got the second coming in, but it's just not going to be enough. That angle being taken up by JV92 secures the round, and it felt like for so long, Virtus.Pro were doing all the right things, but W7m still steal it.
I mean, that's why they're one of the best teams in the world.
Oh, yeah.
They can keep adapting, they can keep finding solutions, and a 5-1-half. I think VP would have banked on this being an attacker-favored map. It obviously is, it's Chalet, but 5-1, that's so hard to come back from, be honestly.
Well, it's not just the fact that it's 5-1, it's the fact that you've got 3.5 players on the side of Virtus.Pro that have kind of sat on the sidelines through a lot of this game. Pasha's being Pasha, he's doing fantastic work. Dan's been involved here and there, so that he's the one that I count as my half a player. But you look at the rest, you look at Joystick, you look at Always, you look at Shepard, really struggling to get into the game. And you can't sort of underestimate that. I say the same things about support players. When you've got your Thermites and they're in that 1v1 situation, they haven't sometimes had a gunfight for 4 rounds, and it's really tough. So now for Shepard to come onto the attack, he's had very little action here. It's going to be difficult for him going into gunfights against JV92 on defense. It's going to be rough.
Horrible. But to be fair, that 2 players died completely unbeknownst to VP at the top of Library stairs there. You had the Warden running away and being tagged by name from Library, and then you also had the backstab coming up a bit later on as well. Just overall a little bit chaotic, a little bit messy, but at least we get that side swap where Virtus.Pro are a bit more in control of the tempo of the round. The thing is, you're attacking into W7m, who you just know can be an absolute nightmare on defense.
Yeah, I mean, coming out here from W7m, they've gone bar, fair enough, but...
crap site.
Yeah, kind of. But the big difference...
You're going to tell W7m anything is a crap site where they're starting, huh?
Yeah, I would tell them. The big difference, though, is with having Herds on the Solace here. They obviously got a clear plan. You can see that they're a bit more set up in terms of what they have for the actual site itself, with the Jaeger, the shield, etc. Including the mirror windows. They've got a lot more to protect the bomb site. They're a lot more than VP had. And then having that Solace, Herds can just do what he wants. He can make his solo plays. He can figure out, he can pressure what he needs to. And I think you're about to find a little pick here.
I just always think back to you guys playing the Mute, the Mozzie, the Solus together and just thinking this is the most ridiculously oppressive thing I think I've ever seen when it comes to drones. Even the Solus by itself can do an awful lot of work. 4 drones already being collected, Tim, and here we go. A little bit of scan coming on through, and Joystick's got the right idea, but can he find anyone?
I like the start from Virtus.Pro. They've used the Dokkaebi call well. They've forced W7m back. They're starting to take a little bit of ground on that top floor. The big question mark here is the gunfights. Who is going to get that opener? And VP really need it to be them. If Herds comes out here and gets 1 or 2 back, all that work they've done so far in the first minute is going to be for nothing.
I mean, the strategic flaw slightly here from VP is it's a full solar side. There's no pressure really on the bomb side. They have managed to get dining control again, same thing as what W7m did. They've managed to take office control, but now it's about removing these players from these powerful positions. Notice how safe W7m are able to play in Library. There's no pressure on the balcony. So what can VP do?
It's that deathly triangle. I think we actually saw it was Dart Zero. He used to play this a lot. NJR kind of crouching in between box, in between Library, back and forth, back and forth. It can be an absolute headache to deal with. But VP have been so slow in comparison to W7m at catching those fringe players because they just always back up, like you say, and join up with the team. A couple of kills do come on through, though. At least they're starting to break things open, but there are 3 players still on site here.
It does give them that library control. JV is managed to pick up Dan underneath, though. But for the time being, Virtus.Pro at least. Shepard's on the window to library. I was going to say they have the vertical control, but you know what? W7m don't care. They're just going to use the nitros instead, and they managed to pick up another. They've given themselves an advantage now. 3 versus 2. Always and Shepard are limited with what they can do with the verticality here. They can't open anything up, so they can only use what's there, and that really sort of takes the edge off all that work they've done to get a hold of of library. So right now, Virtus.Pro are in a position of having to push in through a window, maybe just take those gunfights. But look at the positions W7m are in, and they're smart enough to just sit there and wait.
No utility left on either side either as well. This is just going to be straight up gunfights and potential flanks, and that's exactly what Always is going for here. Manages to find one. The last one's inside of sight here, and Shepard, he's going to see what he can do. He might be able to get away with this one as well in this 2 versus 2, but he's still pinned on the window. They've only got about 5 seconds left and gets it through the soft wall. Always marches a 3K as well. That, again, feels like a smash and grab by VP.
Yeah, it's the same thing as what happened earlier on the dining round, where VP have the 3v2, W7 have exactly the same situation, but teams just gift it back to the attacking team when they don't have the right to. Admittedly, Chalet gives you the freedom to make some of these more plays and sort of like solo stuff and things like that, but realistically, that should be a defender round every day of the week.
I've got a question for you.
Go on.
Fancy a bit of play-by-play this round?
Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
You've got to give it a go. Why not? Let's do it, let's do it. So when it comes to the execute, Tim, we're going to throw to him.
I'll shut up.
I'm ready to watch. I'm ready to watch.
We'll give it a go.
What I'll tell you is everyone messes it up their first time.
Great. I'll mess it up terribly then.
That's going to set him up to mess it up now. Yeah. But I can't wait. I'm really curious to see how you do, actually. It'll be really good, mate. Alrighty, let's go then. Round 8. 5-2 to W7m.
So, big thing there in that replay, as you can see, Dan getting into the bomb site. It's the same thing as what we saw KG do. The big difference is he didn't actually manage to get any picks out of it. But VP have their own little way of playing the game. They have some sort of like a little bit odd quirks, you could say. But the important thing, they've got the key fundamentals. They understand how to attack, which means they could bring this back.
Just looking at the replays as they continued there, it seemed very much in the 3v2 that W7m were very focused on site. All 3 of them looking essentially in the internally, if you will, and that just allowed Always in through that main lobby. If literally one of them is paying attention to that main lobby push potentially, you know, nobody's planting from upstairs, so you don't need to worry too much about anything that could potentially be upstairs. So you've got the site and you've got main lobby, and I don't know, maybe a little bit of a lack of communication from W7m as to, hey, look, I've got a site, you take main lobby, and nobody had it.
I think it's lack of communication and lack of information as well, a little bit.
Yeah. I just like seeing them throw...
This is loving
I'm going to say, Herd's struggling.
I'm focused on something else here. You guys are like, oh, let's talk about this grand strategy. And I'm like, he threw the spiky thing at someone else and hit someone twice with it. That's the best part. Simple things in life, Tim. Simple things in life. Like when you say, I don't know, Logitech hatch.
This is nice from VP. It's a full solo-sided take, and if you look at what W7m have, a lot of this is going to have to be down to solo individual plays to be able to actually recover this, or basically using their C4s, trying to keep this wall closed with the impact tricks, which has now missed once, and he fails it a second time as well. Well done, KG.
We can't be perfect all the time, Titan.
No, that is true.
But down and started out, Hurts has been found out a few times in these last couple of rounds, whereas he was really flying in that first half, has been kept at least somewhat muted by Virtus.Pro. Still got involved in a couple of them, and down here, well, he's under threat. Piano window, potentially one swing out onto him, and then another coming in from Library Hall.
Virtus.Pro showing some great resilience at the minute. That's one thing that is impressing me. They've been, you know, no two ways about it, beating up a bit in that first half. But whoa, Kizzy!
Poor joystick man.
Gets absolutely ripped off the rappel there. Beautiful headshot from inside a sight. And those are the moments for Virtus.Pro that surely, despite that resilience, it's going to start feeling tough when you've got to put up with that.
I should have warned you, Tim is very loud when he gets excited.
Oh, I mean, what a pick, to be honest.
Fantastic pick, and Pash has got another one as well. Shepard, I was going to say, surely goes down, and KZ, despite losing control of that wall, does still manage to swing out and find him on the push on through. 3 versus 3, yet again. Who wins it?
It'll be interesting here to see a little bit what VP can do in terms of like actually now clearing out these positions. Dan still has 2 Ash charges. KG's still low. He's probably playing inside of like the closet area just to be able to keep control of that. But VP still have enough about them. They have enough utility. They have enough sort of like manpower to be able to overwhelm the solar side and still try and go for either a plant down the closet door or just be able to push deep into site and take them out.
I'll say you keep going personally. You take the end of the round, mate. It's all yours.
I mean, KG here is in power position. He wins the round or loses the round for W7m. He's backing up and he's giving them master control. Now, it's a smart move for most teams, because what you would normally find here is then a retake on the actual execute itself as the bomb is going down. But KG again with a pick there onto Dan. What it gives them is an advantage here. They now have control of everything they want. That shield is so powerful there. JV doesn't even need to do anything, just his mere presence, always going down to nade. Final person here, Pasha, 1v3. Can he actually do anything with it? And no, he can't. And JV just pushes out behind the shield and ends the round perfectly. Thank you.
That's very good for a first play-by-play, mate, actually. Very good. Should have had me in my first ones, Jesus. Someone would get a kill and I'd be like, oh my God, he's got a kill and he's going for 2 and 3 more. And this is like round 1 of a game. Really good, mate. Well in, well in.
Thank you, thank you.
Awesome. 6-2.
I mean,
yeah, I think, you know, looking at that, Virtus.Pro, for, again, it sort of feels like, I said it a couple of times in the first half, for all their good work, they just didn't really get too much for it. They did all this good work. They got themselves a couple of kills. They were 3v3, but I'm looking at our top-down view and I'm thinking Virtus.Pro aren't in a position to put the diffuser down here despite all this work they've done. They don't have any control over site itself. They don't have an opportunity because of the shield that you pointed out particularly to move in from bathroom side and think about that plant inside a master. You know, it was great work from Virtus.Pro. It just didn't have that end result.
I mean, it's close, but no cigar, realistically. Yep. That's been the sort of the aim of the game for VP for at least 3 of these 4 rounds that they've lost. And, oh, sorry, 3 of these 6 rounds that they've lost. And I think that's what will hurt them. When they look back at this game, if they don't manage to pull this back here, they'll be going, we had the chance to take this game closer. We had the ability to make this competitive. But right now, there's a reason why W7m are kings, basically, of Siege almost to an extent. And VP, they're still having to learn again.
I remember asking you the day, actually, for your thoughts on a number of teams, and you were very, very complimentary of W7m. You thought that they had real strong map pool. They were coming in as a team that just have the game figured out. They know how to exploit weaknesses in the enemy setup, for example, extremely well. And although you might argue we haven't seen that over the last few days with some of the games they've lost and the struggles they've had, this does feel like a typical W7m performance where they just roll over their opposition.
I mean, very much. I mean, they're on a confident map. It's best of 1. Chalet's a great map for it, sort of like both the format of the game and also just genuinely the playstyle that they want to go. And against VP, who are still learning the map, I suppose you could say. They're still struggling on it, and you can tell by some of the fundamental flaws that they've had. But the reason W7m is so good, they, as you said, Des, they have so much going for them. The map pool, the play style, just even the individual players. After the SI loss, bringing in Nay, bringing in Felipox, they added that extra firepower, that extra almost you could say like knowledge as well in-game of how to perform and how to play themselves. Nade is probably one of the most underrated players as well in Brazil, and coming onto that support role, replacing Julio. They took away probably like a hard IGL or a hard, you know, experienced player. They brought in Nade. And since then, I don't really think W7m look back too much, to be honest. Winning Copenhagen, then...
Yeah, I mean, why would you again? I mean, look back sometimes to celebrate the trophy win, but outside of that, yeah, it has been dominant overall. Again, a couple of struggles here at the major so far, but teething issues.
I've said so many times that hitting form at the right time in a tournament is key to winning it, and a lot of the other teams looking on at W7m now, having taken the loss earlier in the week, I've said most teams who win a tournament will take a loss at some point. It's taking it at the right time, and I'm looking at W7m now thinking...
Like, sorry, when?
I'm thinking maybe they took the loss at the right time because W7m are just looking to go from strength to strength. As a reminder of the stakes of this game, the winner will go through to those final stages. This will be the 3rd win. This will be it done. The loser will have to go on to an elimination matchup. So W7m looking at the minute to cruise into those final stages at the arena.
Yeah. I mean, VP here going for this full backside take. Less than a minute again. This is now VP Pinnacle Siege. 5v5, last minute, they're going for the execute. You can see here, they smoked off Pillar. They've now managed to clear it out. Shepard will have a gap here to be able to plant, but you can see they're going to double swing the guy at the backside there with Dan, and they're going to retake Pillar control. And you can see already KG moving in for it.
Yeah, KG managed to get across, then step back out there as well. Lost the position without the cover of smoke. This could get pretty risky, and he stepped straight into Dan's line of sight. They managed to get the Bandit across, dealt with on the other side by Always. Really good execute coming out from the side of Virtus.Pro, but here comes Nade, the hero that you spoke about. It's him and Herds to win it against Dan and Always.
Nade might just not have been quick enough to the punch there. If he gets round a bit quicker, he finds the kill, but now they can deal with the last man. It's 2 versus 1, but he's up on the hatch. This could be a big brain play from Always. He's going to try and hold both. They know exactly where he is. They can see him coming, but he gets the kill. Can he find the second?
God.
He probably won't need to, Nade. He's just going to have to play the game with him here. He's just going to have to try and bait out the challenge to find the kill. But Always, even on low health, he's too smart for that. What a play from Always. Virtus.Pro holding on and taking us to at least one more round of Chalet.
Perfectly done by VP, to be honest. They clear out the guy Pillar, they use their smokes, they overwhelm that position, they make sure they burn everything that they have there for utility. They nade that player out. He's gone. They know they can now plant. W7m, they wanted to retake. I think if KG commits to it the first time when the smokes are there and he gets into Pillar and he goes for it, he probably can actually win the round because VP were not expecting that. He'd got past Dan because Dan was playing it so passive. But then he goes back. He doubts himself. That hesitation, that one split second, and it's in those key moments, especially against teams like VP, that's where you can lose it.
I'm pretty sure I'd have to watch it back and check, but when I said that Nade was just that little bit too slow on pushing Pillar, I'm pretty sure it's always that wriggled away out of trench door and he's gone in through trophy window and got back on the hatch. And that just goes to show the fine margins that we are working with here in Siege. If Nade is even half a second quicker, he probably sprays both down and always can't get into this position.
It's always his HP here, man. Like, he's taken down to 1 HP as well. Look like...
So brave to take that
It's
fight
a game of fine margins, like you say, not just time, but also down to HP. What I really loved about the round, though, was when Dan was the one playing through the little, like, 2x Kairos hole inside of the wall, and you had Always inside a trench. It was like, hey, it's okay if Dan misses one, because Always has then got the pinch on the other side. So VP really didn't leave it down to one player to command and control that execute. They had a double layer set up just in case W7m did manage to get past it.
Yeah, I mean, I think W7m here playing so aggressive, and oh my goodness, Herds might actually get this pick here. No way, no way.
Oh, he gave it up at the last minute. No.
KG's still fighting though.
I mean, why not? At this point, they've been holding back a little bit longer. Why not? But that could have been a very messy start to the round.
Yeah, I mean, what VP will now be looking for is just rinsing and repeating that same procedure and methodical process that they just did in the basement. They won't care if it takes them 10 seconds to left with execute. They don't mind. VP is so calm. They're cool. You know, they are the Russian cyborgs, as people nickname them.
Yeah.
And that's all they'll want. If they can get 5v5s, plant-based execute situations, they will be happy. And honestly, the more the W7 give them, and again, this round, they're playing quite safe, they're playing quite secure on site, VP will be able to pressure everything. Yes, W7M will have reactions, but it might be enough for VP. And then as you start building the rounds, that momentum.
Nade at the minute is playing out in that key position on solar stairs. If Virtus.Pro want any top floor control, they're going to have to deal with him. They've also got at least 2 roamers upstairs as well. Dan just going to pick up that default cam, so Virtus.Pro dealing with the basics, the fundamentals, clearing that out. You know, it should be an easy thing to do, but it doesn't always happen. Pasha opening up the office wall. It's going to make that top floor more difficult to hold on to as well. Polipox certainly doesn't look like he wants to go anywhere too soon. I say that, he's heading towards that hatch, but he's just going to drop a little bit deeper for the time being.
I can't imagine you want to invest too much time here on this top floor. It's not obviously the site that you're playing on. You're down inside a kitchen and dining. You want to start them getting full vertical control, enough that you can still provide threat, but not really play for your life up there as well. Saying that, Hertz has actually re-stepped back in to retake over half wall here as well, so doesn't want to give up that top floor at all. For really the side of VP, getting this lobby wall opened up inside of dining is going to be the next play, but then you have to worry again about the potential threat coming in from above.
What's really smart here again, Hertz has managed to retake, and I was going to say, this is what W7M will be playing for. It's for the falling back to retake in, lurk, and then on the execute, what they'll do is they'll just overload bodies to retake vertical control. Now, what's going to be interesting, can VP solo with joystick by himself, struggling in the game as well, let's mention, hold on to that. Always is going to be the guy pushing up West Bay most likely to be able to go for it. And Jeopard now going for the plant, and this is it. Will they be able to retake properly?
My impact maybe, Hertz as well, maybe in the spot to do some damage here as well, but he is above. He's more looking for that vertical angle and won't have a chance to get it here. They get the further away kill. In fact, 3 kills fly the way of W7M. You said they had to win those gunfights, Titan, and they've lost every single one.
I mean, it's fundamentally, that's all it came down to the retake. And KG here killing Always, and that's it. Game over. Simple as that.
The inability to take hold of that top floor there, costing Virtus.Pro. W7m showing just how important vertical superiority can be. Not just vertical superiority in this game, but you've got to say Chalet and Siege superiority, really. W7m just looking like a different beast today.
Well, qualified for them, but it does mean VP. They go into that deadly 2-2 scoreline tomorrow. It's a best of 3 to determine if they go home or make it on through.
Joystick going 2 and 9, and also Shepherd as well. I said to Tim earlier, if some people have some struggle in games, that's going to be the deciding factor. And honestly, you could see there, VP, for a lack of a better word, were playing 3v5 in that game, to be honest, and it just showed out there, to be honest.
Yeah, just never activating. I mean, it's unusual for Joystick. You know, I said I'm sort of sat here waiting for this sort of 20-kill game to come in from Joystick that we know him so well for, but just hasn't been able to get himself going on land so far in Atlanta. And Virtus.Pro, they're not out of it yet. They've got another match to come tomorrow, which will be the decider for them. But they're going to have to play a little bit better than they did today, because W7M were, I think, just, you know, given too many opportunities there. And W7M very well prepped for it and got themselves into that space.
Well, the Devs have got something to say about that game as well. Let's throw it over to them now, back in a little bit.
Yeah, we're throwing over here right before we were actually able to get Philippox on for the interview, but he's here now. We finally got him in.
Got
dude,
him.
Congratulations on the dub. I literally caught you in the hotel lobby yesterday. I'm like, there's no way you guys are going to lose, right? And look at what you did. You've qualified for main stage again. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It was a good game from us. They picked Chalet. I didn't understand because we are pretty good in Chalet. And they played yesterday, and we had a lot of intel about how they play. So we did a lot of counters and stuff.
Can you talk about this round specifically? Like, where was the information that was given? Because you guys took basement in 20 seconds.
Yeah, we knew because of yesterday's game that they had only one guy in the bomb side.
Yep.
It was Wamai, and he held the mirror window.
Okay.
But we put Ertz to play on blue.
Window, yep.
Yeah, and he killed him. And then we just dominated the bomb, and then it was easy for us.
Okay, I mean, you guys played it beautifully. Me and Fox actually touched up on it in the beginning of the game. We were saying if VP doesn't stop your guys' aggression from the get-go, and whoever was going to set that tempo in the beginning of the game, that was going to be the team that ran away with it, and that's exactly what you guys did. Was that your goal here, to just apply as much pressure on them, knowing that they do struggle with that type of aggression?
Yeah, that was the plan, because we banned Fenrir as well.
Yeah.
So it helped us with that. They played Fenrir in almost every defense yesterday.
Okay.
So I think they were not prepared for that. And it helped us, our aggression, to play against them. Yeah.
So with your guys' aggression, what does that communication look like? Is it constant comms throughout these rounds, or is there any, sometimes maybe a little bit of downtime? Like, just give me a run through of what the comms sound like throughout the entire round from start to finish.
Yeah, we are always trying to like not pollute the over communicate. But we are always in these rounds, like rush rounds, we can do that because we are everyone's communicating, like everyone's here, and like so it becomes very polluted at times. But yeah. It's like that.
Well, I mean, clearly, whatever it is you guys are doing, it's working. It was a beautiful performance nonetheless. It's no surprise to me, given your guys' aggression and what you guys are capable of, that this is the end result and how this game played out.
Yeah, it looked really, really good overall from you guys. And just to add on to the end, you qualified for main stage again.
Yeah.
It feels like anytime we have a LAN these days, if W7m isn't going to playoffs, then something very clearly wrong happened. But nothing wrong went here. But I asked the same question to Doki. You have a couple of days off now. You don't play another game until Friday.
Yeah.
Is that something that you perceive as a problem, that you're going to be like a little bit cold going into the stage games, or is that totally okay for you?
Yeah, last major we had a problem with that. We went 3-0, and then we had 4 days off, I think.
Yeah.
3 or 4 days off, I don't remember. And we went kind of cold against M&M in the quarterfinals. So I think we are aware of that right now. And we are going to practice against other teams and not let that fire burn away.
I love that.
Sounds good.
I love that.
All right.
Well, amazing performance nonetheless, and we will see you on the main stage.
Yeah, dude, it'll be crazy. Anything else you want to say before we let you go?
E aí, rapaziada, obrigado aí, sempre tá torcendo. Conseguimos classificar para as quartas de final, estamos agora nos playoffs. E agora que o pau pega, né? MD3, estão ligados como que é. E é isso, tamo junto, go Bulls.
Don't forget about skins.
Yeah, e compre, buy W7m skins, the Yana one, very beautiful. so buy it, and thank you guys.
Yeah, dude, sounds
Thank
good
you.
again. Congratulations. We will see
Thank
you
you.
on Friday, and we will also talk to Foxy about how immaculate those attacks from W7m were.
We sure will. W7m did their homework, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how they did. Obviously, it's a bar game setup, and you can see that W7m is completely secure outside the map, waiting for the play. Now, here is the play that we're going to show you. Below, we're going to have KZ walking through downstairs kitchen. He's going to try and come into bar, and his whole goal is he wants to force Shepard to make the communication to his teammates, hey, they're hitting site. I need help. But as they do that, you'd assume Herds is going to walk into games, isolate that 2v1. But no, Herds is going to go up through the green stairs and take what W7m actually wanted to take, which is the top floor. And they wanted to force Shepard to make that call so that Virtus.Pro would mess up and expose themselves to the angles outside the window. Nade, outside library. He's actually going to take down Dan. But if Dan wasn't there, he was making sure that no one takes library control. JV92 on the snow window, locking down Box and Greenhall, making sure that nobody touches Felipox, who can just walk through Ego and deal with Pasha, who, like I said, is so focused on the bait, he had no idea this was coming. And just to make things worse, Herds walks up, deals with the last few players on the top floor in green, and this was a beautiful execution from W7m. It clearly showed they did their homework, and we got plenty more of these rounds coming right after the break.